Caitlyn Clark just delivered one of the most defining moments of her rookie season against the Minnesota Lynx, and even in defeat, she showed why she's the future of this league. Today, we're breaking down why this game wasn't just another matchup. It was a turning point that proves everything has changed for Clark and the Indiana Fever. So, hit that subscribe button and stick around, because we're diving into this game and the bigger story it reveals. First, let's talk about the stat line. 25 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Caitlyn Clark put up numbers that scream leader. But it wasn't just the stats. It was the way she carried herself on the court. After the game, Clark didn't shy away from owning her mistakes. She openly admitted that her turnover in transition late in the fourth quarter might have killed the momentum for her team. This level of accountability, it's not something we always see from rookies. That's maturity. That's leadership. And even though the Fever lost 99-88, the real takeaway is how this mentality sets the stage for Clark to dominate in the playoffs. Now, let's not forget, this wasn't just any opponent. Clark was up against Cheryl Reeve's Minnesota Lynx, one of the best coached teams in the league. Reeve undoubtedly had a game plan to shut Clark down, and yet Caitlyn still found ways to make plays, slicing through defenses that were focused on stopping her. This is a sign of things to come, folks. Clark's ability to deliver under pressure, especially against a coach of Reeve's caliber, is a warning shot to the rest of the league. The postseason is going to be a whole new ballgame. But it's not just Caitlyn Clark that's turning heads. Aaliyah Boston dropped 20 points on an impressive 60% shooting, while Kelsey Mitchell added 23 of her own. This trio of Clark, Boston, and Mitchell is creating nightmares for opposing defenses, and it's happening just in time for the Fever's playoff push. These three are starting to gel, and the chemistry is only going to get better. Just imagine when they fully sync up. It's going to be terrifying for any team they face. With the Fever already locking in a playoff spot, they have a golden opportunity to fine-tune their game plan before the postseason begins. Coach Christie Sides has the luxury of experimenting with lineups and giving key players like Clark, Boston, and Mitchell some much-needed rest. We could be looking at a fully recharged Indiana Fever squad that's ready to make some serious noise in the playoffs. And let's not kid ourselves. This isn't just about making it to the postseason. This is about Clark leading a revolution. Think about it. Clark, Boston, and Mitchell have already made the Fever a playoff team in a season where expectations weren't sky high. Now, they're poised to make a deep run, maybe even contend for a WNBA final spot. If they succeed, this could mark the beginning of a new era in women's basketball. Caitlyn Clark is redefining what it means to be a rookie, and she's doing it in a way that challenges traditional coaching strategies. The Fever aren't just another team. They're the team that could change everything. But it won't be easy. The Fever are about to go up against playoff-tested teams with veteran players and coaches who will throw everything they've got at Clark. Every possession will count. Every mistake will be magnified. The pressure is going to be immense. But what if they pull it off? What if Caitlyn Clark leads this team through the gauntlet and they come out on top? That's how dynasties are born. So, here's the big question. Are the Fever ready to take this challenge head-on? Can Caitlyn Clark continue to defy expectations and lead her team to playoff success? We're watching history unfold in real time, and this could be the start of something truly special. Leave a comment down below with your predictions for the Fever in the playoffs. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe.
Did you know that Caitlyn Clark has been averaging over 30 points per game this season? Yeah, that's right. It's absolutely insane. But here's the kicker, her performance makes you wonder, just how effective are traditional coaching methods? Are they really shaping players or holding them back? Let's dive into this. Alright, so if you've been following women's basketball, you know Caitlyn Clark. She's this phenomenal player from Iowa who has taken the college basketball scene by storm. And then we have Cheryl Reeve, the head coach of the Minnesota Lynx. Now, these two represent very different philosophies when it comes to coaching. On one hand, you have Clark, who's all about improvisation and going with her gut on the court. On the other, there's Reeve, who's known for her structured and strategic approach. Today, we're going to unpack how these contrasting styles are not just shaping their teams, but could potentially change the whole landscape of women's basketball. Presentation of problem/challenge. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the challenge of evaluating coaching impact in women's basketball. It's a tough nut to crack. With Caitlyn Clark's recent performances, it's hard to ignore how she seems to thrive outside the traditional coaching framework. I mean, she's breaking records, making jaw-dropping plays, and leading her team with this incredible flair that just seems to defy conventional strategies. But here's the question, is that a sign that coaching is becoming less significant, or is it just a matter of finding the right balance between a coach's guidance and a player's instinct? It's a complex conversation that we really need to dive into. Exploration/development. So, what's the deal with Cheryl Reeve's coaching philosophy? Well, she's been lauded for her ability to develop players, and her teams are often known for their disciplined play. Reeve emphasizes strategy, teamwork, and adapting to opponents, which is super important. But then you watch Caitlyn Clark in action, taking risks, creating her own shot, and making decisions on the fly that sometimes go against what Reeve has laid out. It raises some eyebrows. Is Clark's free-spirited style a challenge to Reeve's methods, or is it a complementary force? It's almost like watching a battle between structure and creativity on the court, and it's fascinating to see how both approaches can lead to success, but also conflict. Climax/key moment. Let's zoom in on a pivotal moment from a recent game. Picture this, it's the fourth quarter, the game is close, and Clark gets the ball. Reeve had called for a specific play, but Clark, in that moment, chooses to ignore it. Instead, she dribbles, makes a dazzling move, and drains a three-pointer with a defender in her face. The crowd goes wild. This moment didn't just win the game, it reshaped the narrative around coaching effectiveness. Clark's instinct trumped the strategy, and it left everyone buzzing about whether players should have more freedom to make those on-the-spot decisions. It was a game changer, and it got people talking about the real role of a coach in today's game. Conclusion/summary. So, here's the takeaway, the world of basketball coaching is evolving. Caitlyn Clark is challenging traditional coaching norms, showing that sometimes the best strategy is to let players play. We've seen how her style contrasts with Cheryl Reeve's structured approach, and it begs the question, how do we define effective coaching in a sport that's constantly changing? With players like Clark leading the charge, it's clear that player agency is becoming more critical, and we're witnessing a shift that could redefine coaching in women's basketball. Call to action, CTA. Alright folks, I want to hear from you. What do you think about the coaching debate between Caitlyn Clark and Cheryl Reeve? Who do you side with? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to check out my next video where we'll be talking about some of the emerging stars in women's sports. You won't want to miss it.